My name is Jasleen Chaggar and I'm the Legal and Policy Officer at Big Brother Watch. We're a civil liberties and privacy campaign group who've been working tirelessly to push back against state surveillance and protect our rights and freedoms here in the UK. In George Orwell's dystopian classic 1984, after which our organisation is named, we encounter a society in which nothing was your own except the few cubic centimetres inside your skull. It seems to us that the very final frontier of privacy rights is shaping up to be the battle for your brain, with the emergence of neurotech. Neurotech is a broad term which essentially describes gadgets that connect human brains to computers. You can either do this by reading and recording brain activity or writing information into the central nervous system to stimulate the brain. The data that read-only devices are measuring are our brain waves, and that data itself can't literally translate our thoughts and feelings, but AI systems can be applied to the raw data to analyse and decode relevant patterns. And that's not necessarily a one-off process either. The same data can then be returned to again and again and remined to derive additional insights. So what's in a brainwave? Brainwaves are small but revealing. They can expose things outside our cognitive control, like automatic reactions, including when our hearts race faster, when we're falling in love, or when we jump if we see something scary, or reacting to a hug or a kiss. Your brain also lights up with brainwave activity when you speak or make a decision. And machine learning algorithms are constantly improving at translating brain activity into what we're feeling, seeing, imagining or thinking. Neurotech can already decode things like our emotional responses, arousal, alertness or concentration. It won't be long before it can reveal highly personal things like your political beliefs, your sexual preferences, your tolerance for risk, implicit biases, and how harmonized you are with the people around you. It's not difficult to see how dangerous it will be if this highly private, intimate information that you might otherwise try to conceal gets in the hands of other people. Devices that can write are obviously very scary because the fear is they'll be able to influence your thoughts and act as a sort of form of mind control. But read-only neurotechnology is just as scary because it threatens our mental integrity and our free will just as much. Even by wearing a watch, for example, that records EEG data, can track your brain's electrical activity and can reveal things like whether you're washing your hands, whether you've typed out a message to your friend and then deleted it, and even detect early signs of certain health conditions if it perceives a tremor in your hand. And in the workplace, read-only neurotech could lead to widespread employee surveillance, monitoring how focused workers are and giving them personalised feedback on their attention and stress levels. And to some of you that might sound beneficial for improving your productivity, but how long until that data is used to make decisions about employee performance? Who gets promoted, who gets that raise, and who gets fired? And where these technologies are recording imperceptibly in the background, no doubt that data will become part of criminal investigations too, where prosecutors might use your brainwaves at the time of the offence as evidence in their case against you. In the commercial context, companies are likely to know what products we want before we even do, and use the information that they glean to target us with even more personalised advertising based on what's been decoded from our brains. If that data is then sold on to third parties, how will we stop it being used adversely to profile us? For example, when it comes to deciding our creditworthiness or insurance premiums. And if our minds are no longer private, this will have a devastating impact on our freedom to think freely. If you know your innermost thoughts could be weaponized against you, sold to third parties, used to profile you or convict you of crimes, how many of us will be able to exercise our cognitive freedoms that are the prerequisite to so many of our other fundamental rights, like the freedom of expression and the freedom of speech? Given the inherent risks of having our personal, intimate data out in the world, we need to think about putting protections in place before we are too far down this dangerous road. We might look to the absolute right of freedom of thought under the European Convention of Human Rights as a helpful starting point for defending ourselves. At the centre of that protection is the right not to reveal our thoughts, not to have our thoughts manipulated, and not to be punished for our thoughts. This new frontier really is just the beginning, but the decisions we make now will influence where we end up and, most importantly, which freedoms we get to keep.